I have never seen anything like this. Dozens and dozens of whistleblowers, FBI agents coming to us, talking about what's going on, the political nature at the Justice Department.
It's clear to me that the Justice Department and the FBI are suffering from a political infection.
Why didn't the mainstream media robustly investigate how they were all duped? The answer is they weren't duped. They were complicit.
When those who dare to challenge the establishment are targeted by this powerful conglomerate, and it sends a very powerful message. If you dare to challenge us, we will come after you.
The new House committee investigating the weaponization of the federal government got off to a fiery start this weekend. Democrats and Republicans sparred over the importance of the panel. The first hearing focusing on the FBI and the DOJ colluding with social media platforms like Twitter to silence conservative voices on stories like Hunter Biden's laptop and COVID. Joining us now for more on this is George Papadopoulos. He worked for Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign as a foreign policy advisor. He's also a Newsmax contributor. George, great to see you.
Thanks for having me, John.
The FBI keeps trying to make the case that this isn't political. You also heard some mea culpas from Vijaya Gotti and some of those Twitter officials. Rings a little hollow, I think, for a lot of people. But we also saw whistleblowers and former agents testifying, and they said these decisions by the DOJ to work with the FBI, they in fact were based on politics. And again, these aren't political operatives we're hearing from. These are former FBI agents and people that are concerned about the direction that the DOJ is headed.
Yeah, I think based on these various hearings that have just started, obviously, but they're going to obviously metastasize and evolve to, I think, much more in-depth and important investigatory processes, the mainstream media is going to finally be forced to cover what I think half of the country already knows and feels deep down in their bones, and that is that there is a two-tiered justice system in this country, and that the federal government, under the last two Democrat administrations, has really been deputized to enforce a woke ideology and to persecute conservatives and or American citizens who might not totally agree with this communist, socialist, woke ideology that has been pushed down their throats. And I think this is why elections matter and why they have so many consequences, because without Congress flipping the way it did, I should say the House flipping, we would not even have these type of hearings or hold these type of people accountable.
Yeah, and a lot of the country just wanted to, Democrats and a lot of the media wanted to put their heads in the sand about what was actually happening this week. I want to focus too, George, on the House Oversight Committee hearing that we saw and the former Twitter executives who were grilled about the way the platform suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story. What's interesting is that Chuck Grassley has been looking into this for a long time, going all the way back to 2019. Here's Senator Grassley talking about the evidence revealed during being told we don't have that. But you, I'm sure saw this, the fiery testimony from Chuck Grassley. And what's, I think, you know, when you look at this kind of, now that we have some space between what happened, it's really amazing to know that Ron Johnson and Chuck Grassley, two U.S. senators, were already looking into this, and yet still the story was suppressed. Like this was some sort of conspiracy theory that was invented out of whole cloth.
Well, why this is so important is because obviously we have to raise the question, would we have even had a Biden administration if Twitter did not willfully suppress the New York Post story regarding the Hunter Biden laptop issue, which has now been verified by his own attorney recently in case documents? We don't have that exact answer. But what we do know now is that these members of Congress will be holding these officials accountable. They are raising issues such as whether these officials have already lied under oath in fiery testimony. But the key question now is, moving forward, whether these officials lied, whether they willfully interfered in the election process in this country, in our democratic process, will they be held accountable by the Democrat-run DOJ? The answer to that question is likely no, but that's not important now. What is important now is getting the facts out to the American people to showcase to them that this operation, this deep state, this entrenched bureaucracy colluding with tech companies affected the last election, likely this past midterm election, and that the American people must remain vigilant and do their own research moving forward to be informed of which candidates they will be voting for in 2024 and to assure that their votes finally do matter once again.
And I think it's also, George, when you think about it like this, that you have spent more time in jail than Hunter Biden has, considering everything we know about his gun crimes and his drug use and alleged prostitution activity and everything else here. And it's hard not to make the case that he's being protected in some way by all of this. You see his lawyers now getting pretty aggressive, threatening people who keep raising these issues. This sort of reeks of desperation.
Yeah, I go around the country all the time, John, and I speak to wonderful, patriotic Americans who love this country. And, you know, they talk a bit about the economy, but they understand it's cyclical. They talk about immigration, but they know that that's a pipe dream in many ways, immigration reform. But when they discuss the two-tier justice system in this country and the corruption at the institutional level, that's what actually stokes fear in them the most, because it strikes at the heart of the rule of law in this country, our rules-based order, and the future of this country and the direction it's going to go into, whether we remain a republic and a democracy or we go towards a totalitarian communist type of status in this country. So when you do have people like myself, General Flynn, Roger Stone, even the presidents of the United States being raided, Mayor Giuliani's house being raided, and this clampdown on prominent conservatives and everyday Americans who just don't happen to agree with the liberal order that has been pushed down their throat by the Democrats over the last two administrations. This is what they worry about. And this is why these hearings are so important, because Congress will have to conduct proper oversight of these institutions, of these departments, if they're ever going to have to clean house and set this country back on the right path.
George Papadopoulos, great to see you as always, George. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, John. You too.